Well, hi there, and welcome to Personal Bankruptcy Canada. I'm Wayne Kelly. This is a great place where we talk about money matters and things that financially are affecting Canadians. Today, we're going to talk about your kids and money. Is there great things that we should be teaching our kids? We've got Sean Stack on with us today, who's with Bromwich and Smith in Alberta. He's a member trustee of Personal Bankruptcy Canada and a proposal administrator. Thanks for being here, Sean.
Thanks for having me, Wayne.
Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could teach kids? But unfortunately, so many parents are in bad situation. It's really hard for them to teach children, isn't it?
Yeah, well, teaching is, of course, the best method of teaching is actually through example. And unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves in financial difficulty, and because of that, they believe that they're not able to teach their children money management and how to use money properly. But the fact of the matter is, absolutely, you can. The sins of the father don't have to pass on to the sins of the son and the daughter. It's a matter of getting your kids the proper education, and there's resources within the community and resources within the parents themselves.
And the parents could actually learn while teaching. It could become a family learning lesson, couldn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's one of the great things about children is they always offer a different perspective and get you to sort of look at things in a light that you wouldn't normally see. Often when I'm speaking with people, I will ask them to tell me, what would be the things that you would share with my 7-year-old daughter, because I've got two daughters, 4 and 7, and I try to get the perspective of how you would talk to a child about their finances, and it's quite interesting because it changes the paradigm of communication when you're talking to a child.
And so obviously, what you talk to about with the 4-year-old is different than when you talk with the 7-year-old. And then hopefully you've taught something to the 12-year-old when they turn 12. Otherwise, is it lost cause at that point?
I would say nothing's a lost cause, but it's certainly a ship with water in it that needs to get some fixing. I think oftentimes, with children, it's children have this sort of unbridled enthusiasm that they can do anything, and often as we get older, we tend to think more and more, well, I'm stuck within a pattern. A 12-year-old that's developed maybe less than stellar money habits doesn't mean that they're going to turn into an 18-year-old that's going to be overburdened by debt and end up filing bankruptcy or a proposal. It doesn't mean that. Conversely, someone that teaches all the right money management skills doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to end up, being a very successful millionaire with a whole bunch of savings. There are certain things that are out of control, but learning some basic traits as far as how to swim within water, how to tread water doesn't mean you're going to be an Olympic gold medalist at swimming, but you got to start somewhere, and when the younger you kick them in the pool, the better it is, so to speak.
Okay, great advice. Sometimes it's really interesting is you'll have two children in a family who you feel that you've raised the same, yet one has a tremendous saving habit and really great with money, and another may be terrible with the money. And I don't know if that's just their own personalities or what that's all about.
Well, I think in many ways it does have to do with personalities. But, something that's quite interesting is you and I have used this word money quite a bit, and we always throw this word around as if we all know what the meaning is, and it almost seems ridiculous to start looking at defining it. And that's actually one of the conversations I have with many of the folks I assist is, what does money mean to them? Is it something that they use for, to avoid potential suffering that they may have, or to get pleasures that they want? And money really, it's a medium that we use to fulfill what we want to have achieved. So, that one child might say, well, I only feel good when I have a certain amount of savings because, I want to make sure that I'm able to get, I had some loss before where a thing that happened to me when I was a kid, I spent all my money on comic books instead of the Star Wars because I didn't think the Star Wars characters were going to come out. And boy, did I rue the day that I got those comic books, because there those Star Wars characters were, and I thought, forever I will save my money now so I can get a Star Wars character. So.
And that's a great story. And you've probably saved up an allowance. These days, is it a good thing to save up an allowance? And what do you do when you talk about money? we physically don't have money anymore. It's all digital. So should you give kids an allowance?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, a lot of the experts that I've read, they say, yeah, absolutely, children need an allowance, and it helps them develop the habits of using money and saving money. And personally, myself, I'm a huge believer in giving allowances. The thing is, what I used to do, and what I do, is I would give each of my daughters $3 a week. $1 they can spend however they wish. $1 has to go into a savings, and $1 they have to give away to buskers when we see them, right? So the musicians. And what's interesting is I would give them this dollar, right, or this $3, and we had these jars, but never would we really use these jars anymore. So what I did is I actually created an Excel spreadsheet that I just put money in, so it's very much like a banking transaction, so that they can see how much money is there. Makes it a lot more difficult to give the money to the buskers, mind you, because you're giving them a little chit on an Excel spreadsheet. C64, you know, is what they get. But that's what I've done to help get my kids out of that sort of tactile relationship with money, because nowadays the tactile relationship of taking money out of your wallet or your purse isn't the same anymore. It's very much a transaction electronically gone.
What about savings accounts? Obviously, that's important. How do you teach them about saving?
Well, I think that I think the only way you can, as far as I'm concerned, the only way to really teach someone about saving is actually if they've learned about loss, right? Where you know, the example of my losing those Star Wars figurines. It's big emotional breakthrough here for who I am. It all comes down to missing out on the
By the way, I totally understand what you're saying, because I had those same those same little figures, action figures.
Yes, action figures, and it's only with that sense of loss that's in your mind that you actually keep that holding on and say, I'm not going to allow this to happen, so I'm going to put this savings aside. Everything, I believe, everything that we do is mediated out of our desire to either achieve a pleasure or avoid a conceived suffering. And so if you can keep that in mind and move from this constant seeking of pleasure to actually sort of balance in the middle to say, not too much pleasure and minimize the suffering, having that savings buffer can actually really, it actually, after a while, it minimizes suffering, but it actually gives pleasure, because you know I am secure and I'm safe.
Yeah, for our kids, they bought their own computers, they bought their own, you know, this stuff, you know, big mountain bikes, all that kind of stuff. They save up, they work for it, and then they understand they have to take care of it. But I tell you, they really have a pride in using all of that equipment because they had to work hard to save for it.
Good for you, absolutely. That's what we want to teach and help people actually come to understand. That in this day and age, often with the ease that credit is granted to us and the way that it's pushed towards us to say, enjoy this now, worry about it later, it can be quite a difficult trap to actually recognize that you're in. And you know, teaching that to your children like you've done, I mean, it's commendable. I think more and more Canadians would benefit if we would apply some of the lessons that we apply to our children.
Final advice here regarding kids and teaching them proper money management.
Yeah, I guess the final piece of advice I would suggest is learn from your kids. When they're going through the heartache of not being able to get that action figure or that My Little Pony or whatever it is, be there and offer them. One of the things I often offer to my children is I talk about it as the existential condition. You have to choose this or choose that. And be there for them as they struggle with that, because it's that decision of either or that's really going to shape the character of who they are to come. Because later on, someone's going to say to them, you can have your cake and eat it too. The trouble is, you just got to give up next year's birthday cake if you're going to do that.
Great advice and great way to end. Sean Stack, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. And of course, if you want more information, you can always go to our website, personalbankruptcycanada.ca. Thanks a lot for tuning in.